I bought this Harley Davidson Sportster Roadster in the fall of 2020 because I wanted a Harley. I like Harley motorcycles despite the fact that I criticize the corporate overlords in Milwaukee. And I know that by the standards of the rest of the industry, the Sportster is laughably low on horsepower, shockingly heavy for a bike with such small dimensions, relatively slow and quite poorly handling. But it does have good torque, the 1200cc one I mean, and it looks and sounds amazing, even with the stock exhaust, never mind a new pipe. In other words, I was buying a beautiful piece of craftsmanship that I could feature on my channel, I was getting the Harley buying experience, and I was going to use this bike for relaxed rides on pavement and use my Tenere 700 for sportier riding and off-roading. And I picked the Roadster because of its inverted forks and dual front discs as well as a sportier riding position. I was also going to keep the bike long term as an investment because I knew that this was one of the last Evo motors ever released and I'm a fan of that engine. But as it turns out, I sold it. Why did I do that, and do I have plans to upgrade to a larger Harley? For the answers to these and other pressing questions, stay tuned. And if you like the content, please consider subscribing and liking and sharing the video. Thanks! The first issue I had with the Sportster was the seating position. I honestly should have bought a 48 or one of the irons because the Roadster's riding position made zero sense to me. From looking at the bike, you might get the idea that it's sporty, but the problem is that the bars do not match the pegs. They sit low, perhaps similar to the location of the bars on a typical naked bike, but the peg position is really weird. First, the Sportster's mid-controls are very wide. V-twins are supposed to be narrow, but the Sportster motor is massively wide, splaying your feet out to the sides. Fine on a cruiser, but on a sportier bike, this feels super awkward and caused me to sit pigeon-toed. Second, on a typical naked or standard bike, the pegs are located under the seat, whereas Harley's mid-controls are still quite forward. This is necessitated by the location of the exhaust, which really doesn't allow proper peg placement. You could get rear sets, but they are located too far up and back and would require a new exhaust. Or you could go for forward controls, which place you in a weird low bar feet forward position which doesn't suit the bike. I felt weirdly cramped whenever I was on it, which was made worse by the saddle, which looked stylish but scooped me closer to the front, which then caused my hips to cramp up. For a short ride this was fine, for a further one it sucked. The location of the saddle also caused me to catch my pants on the peg feelers when I put my feet on the ground and occasionally skewer my calf. This could be partially fixed with a seat located further back, but then I would have been reaching way too far for the bars. I wanted to ride a motorcycle and not practice a proctology exam position, so I ended up riding my Tenere most of the time. Truthfully, the Tenere is far more comfortable despite having a plank of a seat. It has hard bags that carry far more than the Roadster ever could, and it's lighter and handles better while having more horsepower. It doesn't have as much torque or sound as good, but being comfortable becomes more important the less comfortable you are. I'm not saying that the Roadster is uncomfortable for everyone. Brooke was fine on it, though she kept sliding to the back of the rather slippery seat. But for my particular physiology, it was the wrong bike. I could have turned it into a feet-forward cruiser, but that's not what I had originally wanted. In addition, over the last few years, I've made some contacts with several motorcycle manufacturers and now have access to their Canadian press fleets for testing. I get these bikes for a week, sometimes two, make a video about them, then give them back. And so when I have these motorcycles, I tend to ride them almost exclusively, putting on as much as 1,500 kilometers in a week. Yes, that's pretty cool to be living the dream. However, it often means that my own bikes just sit in the garage collecting dust. And when we did ride our bikes, it was almost always the Tenere and my wife Brooke's Rally. The Sportster hardly got any love. And that's a problem because insurance rates in Ontario, Canada, where I live, are ridiculous for our two adventure bikes, one below 700cc and the other below 300, but astronomical for the 1200cc Harley. It's hard to justify paying over $1,000 Canadian in insurance for a bike you're never riding. And Brooke didn't ride it either, preferring her much lighter and easier to handle Honda. So I sold the bike to a motorcycle apparel shop owner from another town and invested the money. It turned out well, as he has made some significant changes to the bike and is enjoying it more than I did. He sent me some pics of his mods, which include a 2-in-1 full exhaust, rear pegs, a fly screen, and a new air filter. He also mentioned that he went to a stage 2 from my stage 1. No doubt the bike is faster, louder, and ridden much more often now, and I'm glad for that. So the Harley is gone, and no doubt some will say I made the right choice, while others will call it a mistake. The value of the bike might hold or even rise a little bit as time goes on, but in North America, Evo Sportsters are so ubiquitous that they won't run out for decades, so I don't really see the bike skyrocketing in value anytime soon. Plus, keeping the bike would have cost me way more money in insurance than it ever could have appreciated. So both Brooke and I are content with the choice to sell. Sometimes it's nice to own beautiful things, but if you don't use them for their intended purpose, it grates on you. Well, I'm not a Harley bro anymore, but I still have the 2 t-shirts I was given when I bought the bike, and the memories. I'm glad the bike is being enjoyed by someone else, and I'm not closing the door to owning another Harley in the future, but it's not on the priority list right now. I like having one bike that can do it all. So what do you think of the outgoing Evo Sportster? Does it make a good second bike or even a good only bike? Please share your thoughts in the comments below and ride safe out there. If you're interested in any of the gear that Brooke and I wear or use, or the camera equipment we use to film this channel, the links are below. Everything listed there was bought with our own money, and we are not sponsored by any company. However, the links below are affiliate links, and the channel is paid a small amount for referring you to shop at no additional cost to you. We do not recommend any products that we are not satisfied with ourselves, but we do strongly urge you to do your research and select the correct size for items like helmets and clothing. As always, thanks for watching, your support is greatly appreciated. Please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. And whatever you ride, enjoy it. Wave at other bikers no matter what they're riding. We're all part of a brotherhood and sisterhood. Keep the rubber side down, shiny side up, and may the spokes be with you.